Hey friends, it's Awkwardly Random with Cynthia and Michelle, where we talk about random topics.
Anything and everything awkward is on the table, so let's dive right in.
Hey y'all.
Hi, welcome back.
Yay, another episode
of Awkwardly Random with Cynthia and Michelle.
That sounded super awkward.
I messed up. That's why I was like, how are
no, that's cool. That's cool. I actually didn't really say welcome back to another episode of, and then you were supposed to fill in the blank. So I kind of started it just did. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's okay. We're here.
Yes.
That's what matters.
We are. How are you, Mish?
I'm good. I'm feeling a little sick, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit better. I don't know what it is, but it's more like a stuffy nose. So yeah, but I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You sound good. I mean, you don't sound like you're stuffy or nasally or anything.
Really? Is this my regular voice? Nasally and deep?
Yeah.
I hear a difference, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Other people just hear it.
I also don't have headphones and the heater's on, so I can't really hear like specifically. I would have to like hear you through the phone or something.
Yeah.
To see what your voice
hear me through the phone. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
How are you though?
Good. It's Sunday, y'all. Sunday morning.
Sunday fun day.
Yeah. I have work to do though.
I know, same.
I don't know how much of it's gonna be a fun day, but yeah.
Do you have off tomorrow? Because
no,
like our holiday, like the holiday is President's Day on Monday.
Yeah,
but no, you don't have it off.
No, I technically don't have like holidays off. I just let families know, hey, like New Year's Eve, we won't be meeting, but it's not like the company's giving us these days off, so to speak, because I'm technically self-employed.
Oh, so you can schedule yourself to work.
I schedule myself to work or not.
Okay.
So, but I'm choosing to work tomorrow.
You're choosing to work? Damn. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
I need the monies.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
And it's not a long day. I don't work like a regular 9 to 5, which we've already established. So in previous episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
All right, y'all. So today we've decided to cover some controversial topics. You know, and that depending on like if you even see these as controversial or not, but we kind of do.
Yeah.
So
we're not experts on all of these topics. Just disclaimer, it is just our opinions based off of these questions. So yeah, I mean, we'll probably point y'all to sources, but we aren't actually the sources. Okay. We just have opinions and we're just going to talk about them. And I think it's a good way to talk about different issues that are in the world and that are super important, or maybe not as important, but are not really talked about, especially that I have seen.
Yeah, I don't think I've really talked about these things with anybody. So this will be good to really dig a little bit deeper in it. Again, these are just opinions. Yeah, hash it out for real. Opinions. And like, if you're writing a research paper on these things, do not cite us. But if you just want to like spark some conversation, think, get some questions in mind and think about things, then join us.
Yeah. But I do want to say some of the things that we do have to say have certain validity to them.
Well, yes.
Yeah, like we're not gonna just say some like really unfactual things, you know what I mean? But at the same time, we're not gonna say like we're 100% accurate.
Right, because we're not experts on these things.
Yes.
But some of these things we are affected by right now in real time. So I think there is some validity and merit to what we have to say. But yes, we're not experts. Okay, so before we get into these controversial topics, let's talk about the Super Bowl halftime. It's not an awkwardly random question, so to speak. It's kind of like an awkwardly random topic because it has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about later in the episode. But what are your thoughts about the Super Bowl? Did you watch it? Who did you watch it with? Did you watch the game? Was it just the halftime that you were excited about? What are your thoughts?
I watched the game. I watched the Super Bowl halftime show, mostly because of the Super Bowl halftime show, because I knew who was going to perform, but also because the Rams were playing. But at the same time, like I'm not at all a football fan, just to be like completely honest. Like I do not watch football. I really don't like the NFL. I really think they're problematic. I really think that they're racist. So yeah, that's just my little disclaimer at the beginning, but I did watch it. Maybe that's problematic too. If you're in your opinion, if you think that like maybe people shouldn't have watched it, I totally get it. But I did watch it. And I did watch the halftime show. I really liked it. The reason why I watched it, was because the LA Rams were playing, and I don't know if people know this, but I have mentioned it before that I'm originally from Los Angeles. Like I was born there. I spent a few years there. I went to school there. Like I have really like really important years in my life that I still remember in Los Angeles. Even after we moved out of Milwaukee, I would still go visit California a lot. We would take road trips as a family there. Like my dad's side of the family is there. Some of my mom's side of the family is there. So I really grew up feeling like LA was my first home, and it'll always be considered my first home because I was born there. Like I still have those memories, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of those memories are really important to me. So that's why, like, when I don't know, I just felt some type of way. I was like, I gotta rep the LA Rams, because usually I'm always representing like Milwaukee because I feel like I was raised there. But I also feel some sort of pride being from Los Angeles. So that's one thing. And then also just like the artist, super fucking West Coast. And I grew up listening to that music, thanks to like my older cousins, thanks to like my sister and like those cousins, like where I got a lot of my music influence, and a lot of it back then and growing up was hip hop, was R&B, was like reggaeton, was like these really influential big music, you know? So I don't know. I loved it. That's why I decided to tune in. I thought it was really great. But what about you? What did you think?
So I have no connection to LA, like whatsoever. I was born in freaking Wisconsin. Born and raised in Wisconsin. No connection to LA. No connection to either team that was playing in the Super Bowl. I'm not a fan of the NFL. There's like you said, it's very problematic. I mainly I didn't really watch the game necessarily. I watched like parts of it here and there. I was at my house with my roommate cousin, Rebe, who's been a guest on this podcast. And then Jasmine. So the three of us were at our place. We had some food and stuff. So we kind of like were hanging out during the first half. The second half, we started kind of chill on the couch and like, or right before the halftime show. Then we started watching the rest of it. But I didn't really feel like a deep connection to it. The Super Bowl halftime show was pretty historic.
Yeah,
I mean, these were some big names, y'all. Snoop, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, and then 50 Cent. Hopefully I wasn't missing anybody. I think there was 5 or 6 of them.
I think that was it.
So this, Michelle, I don't know if you know this, I just recently learned that it was the first time the NFL has ever had a hip hop act for the halftime show. Ever in their history of halftime shows. Which, like, damn, that kind of says a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
So it was pretty historic, and it was really cool to see them together. Like, just like you, I did grow up listening to them, mainly more so Snoop Dogg and Eminem, some Dr. Dre, and then of course Kendrick Lamar. I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan, so it was really cool to see them together. My favorite part was when they were all on the same stage together at the very end.
Yeah, that was
it gave me like goosebumps just seeing them like be there together in the moment, you know. The one thing is, like, it's kind of hard when you only have like 15 minutes and there's like 6 of you know, so it did feel short in that way because every artist only had like a minute or so.
They definitely should have given them more time.
Right. So either like extend the time, or like maybe not as many performers, or find a way to like give each person more time. I don't know. Like, it just felt a little short. But it does make sense. I mean, you only have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And you have to do all these transitions and all these things. But I still really, really, really enjoyed it. And Mary J. Blige was really good. I think they were all good. The songs were great. The transitions were good. 50 Cent was upside down, which I was trying to figure out like what's happening there. But I think that's in his music video, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a part where he's upside down for that song.
Yeah.
So I was a little confused at first, but I'm like, okay. I wanted to ask you,
it's like a throwback.
Yeah, right. I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about Eminem kneeling?
How did I feel about it?
Do you remember when he knelt when he was on the stage with Dr. Dre?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just his form of, I don't know. I wouldn't highlight him in that and that being the highlight of the performance. I don't think I wouldn't do that, but he did that. But I think it's just a way for him to acknowledge what Colin Kaepernick did in terms of like knee I can't even speak this morning kneeling. So I think it was his way of showing like respect to that. I don't think that he was necessarily taking a specific, I mean, he was taking a stance, but I don't think that he was losing anything in doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think, and also I read that the NFL told him not to kneel, but also knew that he was going to do it.
Right.
So I just think it was a way for him to like respect what Colin Kaepernick did. But I don't think that it should be the highlight of the halftime show, because that's the minimum, the bare minimum a white person can do is be an ally, especially when you're the only white performer in all of the Black performers that day. So having him be in the halftime show, I think is important because he was also a big person in hip hop and in rap. But I don't necessarily think that he was my favorite.
Are you hearing
in the halftime show?
Are you hearing around that it's a highlight, that like, is that like a big thing that people are talking about? Is that the like, or why are you saying that it should be the highlight?
Because I saw so many people post about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, my gosh, he knelt. Oh my gosh.
Oh, like, and it's like a big deal.
Yeah, it's like a big deal. Like, I'm like, I get it. Yes, it's important. But like, that isn't the most important thing, because there were other people, or people were like, oh, like that is a true form of protest, but like they don't understand the nuances behind like Kendrick Lamar's performances, like that song, and having like Black Panther like type dancing in his dance, like choreography, like people were just trying to say, especially people who are not educated in these things, were trying to say that he was the one that was showing a form of protest, air quotes, and other people weren't. But historically, all of these artists, if you listen to their music, have always been against police brutality. And even some of the songs in those lyrics like say it, especially some of the music that was being played that day. So I don't understand, like that's what kind of annoyed me, is when people were trying to make Eminem's kneel like the only form of protest. And I'm like, having all of them there is a fucking form of protest. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I just don't understand where and this was coming from white people. And that's why I don't understand how like that's how people don't know about the music, that where they're just trying to say Eminem kneeling was the only form of protest that they saw. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I think it's because it's a very explicit, like for a lot of white folks, that's the very explicit form, but they don't like it. At least to me, it was pretty clear that all of this was a protest in a sense. And like, even growing up listening to the music, and like, you know, I think Dr. Dre either founded or was part of the NWA, like all these, like,
exactly.
Like, and so I don't know why people don't necessarily see that as like this is all a form of protest, and to know that this is the first ever hip hop show in the halftime history, like ever. And to understand the history of the NFL and all of the what it took to get to what it is now is such a big thing. and they benefited a lot of like Black talent, Black football players. And I was looking at, I'm like, a lot of these quarterbacks are white, mostly white, and they're the ones that make the most money. And there's a lot of like, I mean, the NFL just has a really long, controversial racial history and continues to be very problematic in many ways. And so like, I just feel like, I mean, I agree with you. All of this was a big giant protest, I feel, and a celebration of Black excellence and just like resistance and all these kinds of things. And the kneeling thing, I think, was the thing that like popped out the most to people, because it was, I mean, Colin Kaepernick was an NFL player. He played for the 49ers, and he did that, and it was this big giant thing. So maybe that's why it stood out to a lot of people, but I agree, it should not be the highlight, and it shouldn't be the only thing that should be acknowledged. I think it should be acknowledged, but it shouldn't be the only thing that's acknowledged.
Yeah. And if you know anything about Eminem, you know that he doesn't want to take up space in this space that, you know, even though he is taking up space, like he knows where his place is in this space. And so I think that's why he acts or moves a certain way now, because he understands that.
If you were to add anybody else in, either to replace Eminem or someone else, or just like add someone, who
I don't know if I would replace Eminem, to be honest. I like Eminem too, but I mean, I like Eminem for sure. I listen to his music too. But he is really problematic. He like with some of his, oh my gosh, I can just think of so many shit right now, and
that could be a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's I hope he's getting therapy now or something. And then okay, so I was thinking like Missy Elliott. I love Missy. I don't know how she would mesh with everyone though. I feel like it was more like a Dr. Dre type of show who was heading it, and then like was like getting all his friends to be on it. So Missy Elliott was the first one that came to mind, because I would want other like
another female rappers,
another woman.
Cool.
Yeah, and I know you had mentioned someone. Yeah, you mentioned him. I agree with that too. Especially him being also part of NWA. So I don't know.
Super West Coast.
West Coast. But I don't know if like Dr. Dre and him still have a relationship or not. Like I don't know how that works. So
I have no knowledge about that, so I don't know.
I don't either, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So it seems like we both enjoyed it. We both liked it. We both appreciated it. Yeah. I think there's been a lot of people have very, very different opinions about it.
Yeah.
But I overall enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. I mean, it definitely could have been longer. I wish things were longer. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it.
Okay.
All right. That was a long convo.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to move into our controversial topics.
Oh my gosh.
And these are going to be good. But first question, Cynthia, are you ready? Controversial topic, question number 1.
All right. Let's just get into it. Let's just do it.
All right. Should all student loan debt be wiped out?
Yes.
And we could. Okay. Yes.
What were you going to say?
I was like, we can further explain or not explain our opinions, but I feel like some of these are like kind of.
Well, okay.
I think they're just like obvious. They make sense. Like,
well, to us, not. And I feel like for some people not, which I don't know why, but to us, yes. Like, I am one of the, and this is like personal for me, I'm one of like the millions of student borrowers that have incredibly high amounts of student debt because of higher ed. Like, I was fortunate and very blessed to have a full tuition scholarship for undergrad, but for grad school, I had to take out these loans. So I have high student debt, and these loans come with really crazy interest rates, like making it incredibly hard to pay them off. Also, I'm one of the millions of student borrowers who are trying to financially, economically stay afloat because we were hit incredibly hard by the pandemic. So while these temporary pauses of payments and whatever of interest rates are good, they're just temporary.
It's like a band-aid.
Yes, it's a band-aid. That shit's not gonna like really fix the issue at hand, which is that it's becoming increasingly difficult to build wealth, to buy a home, to build home equity, like pay your rent, meet basic needs. Like it's getting really hard for us to do that because we have all this like insane amount of debt. And also student loan debt is like, it disproportionately affects Black and brown students, Black and brown borrowers. So like, we just gotta like wipe that shit out.
It's in the numbers. It's in the numbers.
Cancel it. You know, it's gonna help increase Black and brown wealth. It's gonna help narrow the racial wealth gap. Like, come on, people. Like, let's make something happen. You know? I agree.
The only thing I would add is that yes, should be wiped out.
Yes.
But I also think that even though, okay, let's say it gets wiped out, right? For certain people, this is gonna like, if there is no change in terms of like inflation, because student like higher education has inflated so much. I think it's the one thing that has skyrocketed out of all the things I was reading, out of all the shit that we have to pay for.
And
this is how I'm going to talk, folks. Sorry, I'm not going to be super eloquent. Okay. So education for sure has been one of the things that has rose up in price over years the most fast. Okay. And then also the living wage, the federal minimum wage hasn't changed in years. And you're like changing the price of education and everything else. Like, how do you expect for people like us and other people coming after us to be able to pay for and have an education? Okay, like say we wipe everything out. Yes, that'll be good. It'll help us, but like future people, like we need to help them too. So we need to get better people.
You know how there's
these decisions. So I just think it's a little bit bigger than just wiping it out. But yes,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, all of these questions that we're gonna ask, there's a lot of things to consider, and we will not have the time to dive into all of it. But
maybe
that's
we
a really
will
important
eventually.
point. No, that's a really important point. There's some people that are arguing who have already paid off their student loans, saying that it's not fair.
Good for you.
Because how come I had to pay? How come I had to pay my student loans and you won't have to? Like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
How does
wouldn't
that make
you want
any
to help?
sense?
Like,
yes. Like, wouldn't you want like, oh shit, like it was really hard for me to pay these off and it was a struggle, and like I wouldn't want you to go through that either, and I would want, you know what I mean? Like, why would people say no just because I had to do it, you should do it too? Like, I struggled, so you should struggle too. It's not fair. No.
So you sound fucking bitter if you sound like that. Sorry, but I'm gonna no.
But that's what a lot of like older people are saying. That's what their argument is like, well, I had to pay these off. Why do you get the easy way out and not have to pay it off? Man, people
don't talk to us. Talk to your government. Okay, the government did this to you, not us.
All right, so that's how we feel about it.
On
the surface level.
All right, I'll cool it down. I got a little heated. That's
what happens with controversial topics. Okay, so we can dive deeper into that. We can maybe dedicate another episode. Let us know what y'all think about these. These are just kind of, we're just kind of run through these a little bit.
And also, like, if you do want to get involved in like student loan debt, wipeout, forgiveness, there are definitely resources.
Yes.
Organizations that are like doing the work, so definitely reach out to them if this is something that you're interested in doing. Obviously, like, we're not experts and we're not like actively working on this. This is just like our opinion on things,
but there are ways to work on it and be involved with that change.
For sure.
Okay, I'll ask you the second question. You ready? Michelle, do you think standardized tests should be abolished?
Yes. Yes, because so the standardized testing they're made like, I feel like they're all tied down into like money. So like for people, like standardized tests is more like a way for companies companies who administer tests, companies who do like study plans, create these books that you have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars are the ones who are winning in these standardized tests. Because if people have looked at like just studies or either like statistics on how well students are doing in these tests, it's usually white upper class students because they have the capacity and ability to study for these exams, while low income Black and brown students don't really. I mean, obviously they can get high scores, but it really does take a lot for them to do it. And it's made in a certain way. I just know that standardized testing is made a certain way that doesn't necessarily benefit low income students of color. And at the same time, going through higher education, like even going into high school and taking the ACT or SAT, right? And then taking the LSAT and then taking the bar, you can definitely, like, we know what it feels like to have certain knowledge on certain things, and that doesn't necessarily show with a test. Like our knowledge, it depends on people, right? I think every person is different. I think testing knowledge and how much people know doesn't necessarily fall into a standardized test. Like there's different ways to show someone's knowledge, and that's my point too.
Yeah, let me add to that. So with in regards to the test and performance on the test, usually what happens when you take a test, and this is not to speak for everybody, but for a lot of people, testing causes stress and anxiety in people. It's a very nerve-wracking type of thing. And so when you are under stress or you are anxious, most of the times that will impact your performance on something. So I don't think it like it's an accurate, like your result or your test score is an accurate reflection of your knowledge and your skills.
Yeah.
You could be having a really hard day. You could have heard some bad news the previous day. You could not feel well. You could have all this anxiety. Doesn't mean that you don't know the content or the the stuff that you're supposed to know for the exam, or for the test or whatever. But you may just not do well in it because of all those external factors.
True. Yeah.
I also remember when we were People Program, they provided us with ACT prep, so they helped us prepare for the ACT. And I remember being told, you don't necessarily have to know the stuff. You just have to know how to work the test.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be good at science. You don't have to be good at math. Just know how to read the question and answer the question. Like read,
pick the best answer.
Yeah. Just know how to take the test. And I'm like, okay, so
this is a game.
Essentially, that's what I thought. Like, what is this? Like, so I don't really have to know this stuff. I just have to like know how the test works, and
like patterns and answering and stuff like that.
Which in a sense is a skill, yes, that's important to have, like know how to read questions and answer questions and stuff, but it doesn't I don't think it should be something that helps determine whether you get into a university or not. Or college or higher ed or something like that, because it's not a reflection of your true knowledge and your skills. It really isn't.
And you don't really do that when you're in college, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like what?
So UW is
just a form of gatekeeping.
I don't think UW is like my brother is a senior in high school, and he's applying to schools, or has applied to schools already and waiting to hear back, but I don't think he had to take the ACT anymore. Like I don't think it was required. I think partially because of the pandemic though. That it might have been stopped, but I think he still took it, but he wasn't required to submit his score for consideration for admission to UW-Madison.
That's cool.
So I think some schools are starting to make changes with that, which is good.
I think so too.
And
I think some graduate programs too are doing that. But definitely for law school, you had to take it, for right? LSAT. For the LSAT, for people to get into law school, they had to, even during the pandemic, like they transitioned it to virtual.
Okay.
So for people getting into law school, I think they still had to take that.
Yeah, I don't have to take any standardized tests. I did not have to take the GRE to get into grad school, but I know many grad schools do require it.
Yeah.
So okay, we both stand on the same side. We're saying yes, abolish it, cancel that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, should we get to the next question?
Yes. Yes, should the drinking age be 18, Cynthia?
Ooh.
When did you start drinking? I'm just kidding.
Girl, I started definitely before 21, that's for sure.
Okay.
So, yes, I think it should be 18.
Okay, why?
All right.
Ooh, this one is for real controversial.
This is tricky, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think I think honestly are we the only country that is allowing people to like is the age is 21?
I don't know, but I feel like it is because a lot of people like in Europe and like Mexico and like it's like 18, yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's why a lot of people go to like Cabo. Well, at least I don't, but like I know other people did.
Yeah.
Went to Mexico during their spring break and stuff.
As soon as they turned 18.
Yeah.
Okay. So as adults here in this country, at 18 we're considered adults, right? So we can vote at 18. We can drive at 16.
For sure.
We can I think we can buy cigarettes at 18.
Yep.
And you can be tried as an adult in court
by 17.
There you go, by 17.
Yeah.
All of those things you're technically you're told you're an adult here, right? So it doesn't make sense to me why the drinking age is 21 if we're being treated as adults technically, right? As adults at 18. Yeah. I do think that what needs to happen is there needs to be more access to information to be fully aware of the consequences of drinking. People have the right to know, like, this shit is dangerous if you don't do this responsibly and carefully, but it's your right to decide whether you want to take that risk or not. Like, if you want to drink, go for it, but be fully aware that there's such thing as alcohol poisoning. You lose your inhibitions sometimes, like actually every time you drink, like you shouldn't be driving, like all these things, like people should know these things and just be aware of it. And I think when the limit's 21, at 18 or 17 or 16, people are going to find a way to drink. I did that. You're either going to get a fake ID, you're going to ask someone to buy it for you, you're going to go to house parties that there's going to be alcohol there, right? And then I was reading too that a lot of underage drinkers will avoid seeking medical attention when it comes to consumption of alcohol because they don't want to get in trouble by the law because they drank illegally. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like we should be allowed to drink at 18 legally. But what are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree with you. I think we're just gonna be agreeing on all these. You said it really well. I don't think I have anything to add, especially with every single thing that we're allowed to do as 18-year-olds. And the one thing is drinking. Yeah. Not saying that like, and I also feel like the fact that like if people can drink at 18, maybe they can better manage what comes after, because I feel like 21 is like a few years after 18. So like some people don't know how to deal with that even at 21. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I definitely think that I do think that everybody should have the choice of that. I definitely think that there should be more resources. And because like we can start smoking at 18, and I definitely think that nicotine and cigarettes like really do affect your lungs. And even then I don't think there are any resources really well known of when people get addicted to nicotine through cigarettes. So
people are gonna drink, like
people are gonna drink, people are gonna smoke. Like we can't really control people and what they do. I definitely think though that there should be resources for people. I think there should be, especially medical like just access to like healthcare is important in general, and I don't think we have that. And I think that's the main issue to this to like
a
lot of the things. And
you know what this makes me think of? Yeah. This makes me think of like sex education, where a lot of people, a lot of students, younger folks are being told abstinence is key. You should not be having sex if you don't want to get an STD or you don't want to get pregnant. Like, do not have sex, right? But we are sexual beings, like, and
or mammals.
And puberty, right? You know, you start to develop these, I don't know exactly how to word this necessarily. I don't know how to articulate it very well, but hormones and reproduction and like all these things in puberty, like you start to come into your sexual self.
Arousal.
Yeah, right. In your like teenage adolescent years, to tell someone not to have sex, and this is also controversial, but like people are going to do it regardless. So I think the approach would be to like tell them of the consequences, you know, of things that could happen when you do engage in sexual activity. What, you know, STIs, STDs, how to use protection, you know, how do you put on a condom, birth control, the pill, whatever, you know, consent. Like there's all these things that are really important things to talk about when it comes to having sex. And when people don't have that information, like they're, you know, people are, then it's going to lead to like maybe unwanted pregnancies or STDs, STIs, all these things. And they don't have the help or the resources or the knowledge to figure out how to handle situations like that. And I think similarly, I mean, that's why it makes me think of this, because same thing. If we tell people like, don't drink, they're still going to drink, you know? So like, we should help them how to do things, how to do that safely, or how to ask for help, or where to ask for help, where to get help when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree. And I do definitely think that a lot of people are drinking before 21 for sure.
Did you?
Not, I think I started drinking when I was 20. Okay. I was like, I think, or like when we went to college, I remember.
I had my very first drink, I want to say like my senior year of high school.
Oh, okay. No, I think mine was like freshman year.
Okay.
So maybe I was like 19 or 18.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was definitely in college.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah. But yours was senior year of high school?
I want to say high school, yeah. At some like party or something. I didn't
get like nice,
but I'm like,
I'm like nice. I'm like, maybe I don't know,
man, that was nice. Yeah.
No, I mean, all right.
And we're not saying this is not to say we're condoning
we're not
it, like you should drink. No, not at all.
Yeah.
I just think people should have the right to have that decision, to make that decision if they choose to or not. Okay, let's get to the next question.
All right.
These are getting heated,
juicier.
Controversial, juicier each time.
All right.
All right, Michelle, do you think that social media is harming us more than helping us? What are your thoughts?
Okay, harming us more than helping us. This is tough. I love social media. As someone who lives far away from my family, I use it a lot to stay connected to, you know, friends, family. I don't know. And I also just like seeing what people are up to, but at the same time, like I understand that a lot of the things that are seen on social media are highlights, maybe not as true. Maybe they are true. I don't know. It depends on whoever's posting, right? But then I do think, what did I mention to you last time? I remember when we prepped, I had mentioned something where I thought it was harmful that
you mentioned cyberbullying and and censorship.
Cyberbullying, but at the same time, like the way that I see that it's harming us is the way that people who control or have control of social media and like our media in general are keeping tabs on us. Like that's the reality of it. It's like they're collecting our information. We don't know who they're giving it to or how they're disseminating it, but we're getting fed these what we're consuming through algorithms in a way too. And I don't really have that background to know too much of it. But I definitely know that it can be harmful when we don't know how much information they have of us, where this information is going, and what this information is being used for. Because it definitely is, especially when I was and this concern happened a while ago. Like I was a journalism major, and we like watched the documentary of Snowden. And we like when I was in journalism, they had talked to us about how like there really aren't, like with these things that are really new, there aren't regulations really set in stone of like what can and can't be done with our information. So like maybe, and like as like being trained as journalists, like them teaching us like maybe like you need to encrypt certain messages because you don't know who's watching, and like you don't know how people are getting this information. So when I was in my journalism major, we talked about those certain things. So that's when I got interested in like, wow, like this is what our government is doing. This is what like maybe not governments are doing, like corporations like Facebook and all these other things and even then, like I think there were certain things in the news with Mark Zuckerberg and him only censoring specific type of content and not really politics or unfactual things written by Republicans who are super conservative, and people are saying like, why is this being fed to people? You know what I mean? Like people have found that was the messages that were coming through, but censoring other types of messages. So in that way, I think that we're not really seeing, but that is a huge way of how we are being harmed and can continue to be harmed, because I specifically don't know, especially with everything that I'm doing on social media and stuff, and even this, you know, like we're putting this out there. But in general, like I know that our information is being collected as we speak.
With every search, every website you go to, all these things, there's also this thing called like cross device tracking. So it literally tracks information from other devices and like within like close proximity. I think that's how it works. I'm not really sure exactly how that works, but it takes information from multiple devices, or it tracks from multiple devices, and it creates these, like it uses these algorithms to filter certain information that you see on your feed. So I think it's harming us in many ways. I think it's also I think it's harming and helping. The helping part, I think, at least for me, FaceTime and Facebook, even though I don't have it anymore, but it was a way for me to connect with people from far away. Facebook, I used a lot to stay in touch with people from like my family from Mexico, who also had Facebook, and that was a way for us to connect. I use FaceTime a lot with my family. Instagram is how I like to share things from our podcast. Like it's a nice way to share things with people and connect with people and share stories. And I think it actually helped save me a little bit during the pandemic when I had to kind of isolate and quarantine. So in those ways, I feel like it is helping. I think technology in general has helped us advance as a society in many ways. But we just got to be careful with it because, they're tracking our data. There's also cyberbullying. I was reading about this, and apparently, I don't know exactly, we can look this up more, but there was a study done that found that Instagram worsened body image among teenage girls. And then the app also showed links to like anxiety and depression among like adolescents and teenagers in general. But this was information that was done, like an investigation that was done internally, I think through Facebook or something, but they didn't give out that information. They didn't share that information. They tried to hide it because it obviously looked bad. for them and for the app. Because I think Facebook owns Instagram, right? I think so, right? Yeah. So like we need to know this stuff. I don't think this should be hidden. Like this stuff is legit impacting our self-esteem, how we see ourselves, our mental health, social media.
Do you think if we didn't have Instagram, people wouldn't have?
No, I think we would still have
we would still have it. That's what I'm saying. Like even before this, like with magazines and like just the way that media portrays women, like has always been this way. And especially in the beauty industry, like it's made for women to hate themselves. Like that's the reason why a lot of like the beauty industry has made a lot of money. They've made a lot of money because women don't like how they look. Like that's the image that they've always portrayed to us, is like, don't like how you look, change whatever you want, do this, do that. And I think that even without it, I'm not saying that we should have it and like whatever, right? But I am saying that even like Instagram is contributing to this, but even if we didn't have Instagram, like we would still have the same issue.
Yeah. The thing with social media though is that it's much faster and there's a lot more of it because it's just like a nonstop flow of information. Like with a magazine, you have to go to the store and buy the magazine and then you see the picture and that's it. But with Instagram, you can
turn on the TV.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about
TV. You can,
yes, you can. But with social media, I feel like it's so much faster. Like you're on your phone and it's a very quick access. Like it's like you just scroll, and you just constantly see these images of, and a lot of it is fake filters. Whatever, Photoshop, whatever you want to call it. I think there is a difference there, but I'm not to say that these issues wouldn't exist if we didn't have social media. We would still have it. But I think there's people that, well, with television too, obviously you see a lot of that. Even though people aren't really watching television, so to speak, as much, it's more so like streaming, but you still see the same thing in those, like with Netflix and Hulu and all that shit. You still see the same thing, unfortunately. But I just feel like social media is just it's just easy access and quick access. I think maybe that's the difference for me.
So what do you think we should do?
I think there needs to be, actually, I think you maybe have said this when we talked about it, and I agree with you that there should be more regulation within like the top, like the corporate, like the people that run these apps and run these companies, these tech companies. I think we should probably be not manipulated by these algorithms, and there needs to be more regulation around like fake accounts and bots and things that filter your news feeds and stuff like that, because that shit also exists. Because sometimes I feel like I don't know what's real and what's not. It's really hard to decipher that. I don't know, man. What do you think we should do?
I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. I think that I feel like I don't know, because I think that I feel like if you're using social media, there's a level to it being not real, in terms of like there is so much Photoshop, Facetune editing done in certain pictures. Not all of them, obviously. I don't try to do that with my pictures, but I know specifically with like celebrity culture, I definitely think that they still do it. And a lot of people try to justify it by saying, oh, like it's just like it's just like me taking off like my like a pimple or something. Like I don't know. I don't know if you can actually regulate that. I don't think you can regulate people's actions and what they post in that way, but I definitely think that you can make people more aware that what they're posting isn't real. You know what I mean? And also giving more of a platform to people who don't look a specific way. Like, you know what I mean? Like the algorithm is made for us to be able to I don't know, this is what I read. Algorithms are made for us to find specific types of people that look a certain way and do a certain thing. So if we change that and maybe can see other people who don't necessarily look a specific way and give them more of a platform,
right?
I think that can help. I don't think it'll take anything away, but I don't think that people can control other people, like whether they use Facetune or not. Maybe
and we shouldn't be controlling that.
Yeah, and maybe people can just be more honest about using it. Like, you should be honest about how you're like highlighting, changing, especially celebrities. I'm referring to mostly because they're the ones who do it the most, or influencers or whatever. I don't know if other people do. I'm pretty sure they do, but I just don't think I think it's really hard to regulate certain people like that. But I think the more you make people aware that people are doing it, or maybe you can put that,
right.
I don't know. I just think more transparency, more spreading out the spotlight on other people, giving other people more chance to be themselves. And I think that's one of the reasons why social media is a big thing, is because anybody can put stuff out there and anybody can find that content. So there should be content for everyone. It's just, are they being shown in the algorithm? That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I mean by the regulation pieces. Obviously I agree with you. I don't think we should regulate. I don't think we can and should regulate what people do with their social media accounts and whatever, and how they present themselves, because you have the freedom to represent yourself or present yourself in any way that you want.
Yeah.
But I think there should be regulation around those algorithms, like within the higher ups who filter this information and only give you a certain piece of it.
Yeah,
because they do this so that you can engage with the app, with the information. Like, that's what they want. They want you to engage, and so they look at what you search, what websites you're on, how can we use this information, this personal tracking information that we're getting from you, to filter out certain pictures or certain ads or certain articles or things like that will get you to engage. But if we got to see all of it, maybe, who knows, that might make a difference. Like, I feel like you're onto something there, Michelle. So
I don't know.
There's no like clear answer, I don't think, but
yeah, it's tough. I definitely think that you're right in terms of like regulations, and it needs to be transparent, like how Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok are gathering our information.
Yeah.
Where are they putting it? Who are they giving it to? And then also we should have the ability to deny them access to what they've already had. Like, that should be a thing.
Right.
So I think maybe that is the more clear step to take.
Yeah. I think
versus us versus like policing individuals, which I don't think, like, we both agreed, we don't think that's possible. No. So it has to come up from the people who are in charge of these apps. Yeah. That makes sense. Look at us.
Wow.
So the last controversial question, and we hope you've enjoyed this. The last one would be, have you heard of the figure skater Kamila Valieva and how she was allowed to compete in the Olympics? What do you think about that? After she was found positive for a specific drug, I don't know how to pronounce it and I don't know what it is, but it was found to be an enhanced performance drug.
Yes. Yeah. So some background. Kamila Valieva, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly.
Yeah. She
is a 15-year-old Russian figure skater competing in the Beijing Olympics this year. So she was cleared to compete, like you said, because even though she tested positive for having trimetazidine. Fuck, I don't know how to say it either.
It's fine.
Whatever. Okay. In her
system. It's a word in her system. It's a drug. It's a drug. Yeah.
It's the name of a drug that's used often to treat like heart conditions, certain attacks or other heart conditions. Apparently it was her grandfather's medication or something.
No, she was saying she accidentally took her grandfather's medication.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
Lies.
That's what we're hearing.
Allegedly.
Okay, but this drug is listed on it's on the list of like banned drugs that you cannot take if you are competing in the Olympics, right? She tested positive for it in December. And apparently they just found out like a week or two ago about it, which to me is like super suspect.
Yeah. Sus.
Yeah. And then also they allowed her to compete. Apparently, I was trying to like read up on this, but apparently they also said that because she is a minor, she's 15, she is considered a quote unquote protected person, meaning that she should not be liable for, she should not be held accountable for this because she's a minor, and letting her compete would cause quote unquote irreparable harm for her. Okay. Another thing, I think she was allowed to compete, but, and I think you told me this, Michelle, she wasn't able to win a medal, correct? She can compete, but there's no medal.
Yeah, if she were to place a specific,
if she were to win gold.
Yeah, I think so. If she was, I don't know if she was supposed to, if she were supposed to win gold, but I know that if she were to have placed, that she wouldn't get gold, she wouldn't get a medal, and in general there wouldn't be a ceremony for anybody.
Yeah,
not just the other competitors.
Sure. Okay, so all of that, in thinking about it, I don't think she should have been allowed to compete.
Why?
Because so she took a banned substance, something that she wasn't supposed to take, that was a performance enhancer, right? She had it in her system. I think those results should have been given right away. I don't know why it took months when she tested positive. She apparently had it in her system in December, and they're just now finding out about it. I don't know. To me, that was weird. But this whole thing about causing irreparable harm, I don't want to sound inconsiderate, but I also know that she's only 15 and she has more years. She's more years.
She's not 10.
She has more years to live, more years to compete, in my opinion. This isn't the last year that she's ever going to be able to compete. And I don't know if this would be her peak anyway. I don't know. I just feel like she took this thing that enhanced her performance. Therefore, I don't think maybe her performance would be valid, would be considered valid, because she fucking this performance enhancer drug is apparently one that helps with endurance and efficiency in athletes, which is something super important when it comes to figure skating. So I don't think she should have been allowed to compete. What do you think?
I also don't think that she should have been allowed to compete. I think that I think that her saying that, maybe she took her grandfather's medication is a lie. It's a good lie though. I mean, if people believe that, I don't know. I just think it's super convenient to that have come up, and apparently the Olympics likes to hold themselves out to be this very high, obviously it's known for their intense sports and their integrity to their countries and the sports themselves. And there have been people who have been previously taken out of competitions because they found certain drugs in their systems, and not allowed to compete. So to have allowed this specific exception, I think is bullshit.
Yes.
So I don't, and the fact that, they're trying to say that she's a protected minor, that's more than enough reason why she should not be competing. Right. If you found a drug a performance enhancing drug in a minor who's 15, why would you allow her to be in that type of environment? If you're so concerned about the well-being of this child, she shouldn't be competing.
Yes. Snap. This didn't come too long after what happened with Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Who's a 21-year-old runner. I think she was not allowed to compete in the Tokyo Olympics. Was that last year? Maybe last year. I don't really follow the Olympics that much, y'all, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think it was.
So she was suspended from the 100-meter dash for testing positive for marijuana. Okay. Well, drugs, marijuana, which is not a performance enhancing drug.
Yep.
Okay. She had her test. From what I read and from what I heard, those results came in immediately, and they were like, nope, you are not allowed to compete. Keep in mind also she is a Black athlete. And Camila is a Russian white athlete. So she was not allowed to compete. Her drug test came out immediately. She also, what happened when I was listening to a podcast about it, and they said that she found out that her mom had passed away. And she found this out from a reporter on live television. So like she took marijuana to cope. And I would have done the same fucking thing, honestly. Because that shit is like, how do you cope with something like that when you find out on live television that your mom passed away? You know what I'm saying? And when you're in this really high stress environment, which is the Olympics. She knew the rules and she still did it. But now I think the question more so becomes like, is this even a valid rule? Like maybe marijuana should not be on the banned list. You know what I'm saying? Even though Sha'Carri did know that she wasn't supposed to take it and she still took it. And she's an adult, she's 21. But these are different circumstances, I feel. Very different than Camila's situation. And also, like, some of these rules don't make sense. I think that it needs to be reevaluated. Like, marijuana is not a drug enhancing, or not a performance enhancing drug. So why is it on the banned list, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it should be reevaluated as to why marijuana is on the list.
Yeah.
And then I also think that if you're going to have a rule for your competitors, you should have it for all of them.
For all competitors.
For all competitors. Like you're not just going to have a rule and not have them applied to certain players because that looks bad. Regardless of their age, if they're competing in the Olympics for their country, it should apply to everyone the same. And I understand there's certain circumstances and stuff like that. But if in general, like, if Valieva was allowed to play, Richardson should have been allowed to run. Like,
yes.
I don't know. That's what I think. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want with our opinions. That's what we think.
Do what y'all want with everything we just talked about, but that's how we feel.
Yeah. If you disagree with anything, that's fine. Let us know. Yeah. We want to know. We really do want to know.
We actually do.
Or if you agree, like we really want to know, like let us know what you think. I think it's really important for us to talk about these things.
Right.
And just like where everyone's coming from. Let us know what you think either in the comments below or like hit us up in our social media, Instagram, Facebook. You can like we will post about this. So post or comment or message us directly.
Yep. We for real want to hear your perspectives and your opinions, and we don't want to disregard them in any way. Like we really like this is just how we feel, but we obviously love to hear what other people also have to say. And I learn a lot from hearing from differing opinions. I think Michelle and I are just like you and I are very similar in how we agree. Like every question we said, we answered the same. Like it was the same
pretty
thing.
much. Yeah.
But
there were good discussions followed after.
Right. Good discussions. And you made me think about certain things that I hadn't thought about. And like, so it's cool. You always learn from these conversations. But we do value also opinions that differ from ours. So let us know what y'all think. Those are all the questions we have for today. We do have more in mind, but for the sake of for time and this episode, we're gonna end it at that. But let us know what y'all think. If you enjoyed this, if this made you like think and ask
cringe,
questions
like the
and
book,
even cringe or react in any way, respond in any way, we would love to do this again.
Yeah, some of these were a little hard, and some can be hard to vocalize, especially for other people to hear. So we definitely get it, but we definitely think these are important. And I agree with Cynthia. We want to do this again. Maybe we can invite other people from different perspectives and just talk about different controversial topics.
Yes,
that would be great. One of the ones that we didn't touch on that I think we would touch on the next episode would be whether vaccines should be legally required. That is the most controversial question right now.
It's a hot topic right now.
It's a hot topic, but we should definitely talk about it. But hopefully we can invite other people on the podcast to talk about it, see what they think. But that's what we have for today.
Yes. All right, y'all. Give us a like, a subscribe, share our episode. You can find us on Facebook, on social media, as we talk about social media.
Yeah.
You can find us on Facebook,
harming
Instagram.
Us.
Yeah, I know, right? It's harming us, but also come follow us.
Yeah, come follow us.
But anyway, yes, you can find us there on any podcast platform. Send us a DM, give us a like, give us a comment, all of that stuff. Let us know your thoughts. And we appreciate you joining us for today. And we will catch you at the next one.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.